people to join. But anyway, I actually haven't seen you in forever. We tried to catch up for a cup of tea a little while ago, which then we went into lockdown again.
I know. I feel like I haven't seen, or I
Anybody?
haven't seen anybody. We're not allowed to see
Yeah.
anybody, but yeah, it's been a while. I've been trying to force myself to catch up with someone once a week to go for a walk.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
you know, Melbourne weather too.
Yeah, so it's starting to get warm now. Yeah.
Yeah. And then it rains.
I've been loving your little, you know, meeting someone in the middle of your radius and then going shooting, which is just such a good idea. So if you are around the North Melbourne area again, please let me know. I absolutely want to join.
I will. Yeah.
I've got a friend. Do you know Nadine, makeup artist Nadine?
I do. Yeah. She's amazing.
She's amazing. She literally lives 2 doors down from where I moved. We've been relocated, so I've been going for walks with her, which has been really nice.
Awesome.
It's super fun. So it's so good if you can meet someone within that radius, just to be like, oh my god, human interaction. It's so nice.
Yeah. I went for a walk in the city because now our radius is 10 kilometers. I went for a walk in the city the other day, and there lots of random people on the street just wanted to talk to me, and I was like so full of conversation. I was just talking to random people, and I said to my friend, I said, man, you could tell I'm just starved for like human interaction.
Yeah, human interaction.
I was just
Nice to see you, Amy. Thanks for joining the chat. It is exactly like that. What up, Ash? Thanks for being here. It's so much like that. I just there was one time it must have been we came out of a lockdown and I did a shoot, and I remember I just couldn't stop talking. Like I was just I'm such an extrovert as well, so I'm like this is how I get my energies through people. So I'm just like, please talk to me. I need this human interaction. So it's I had to apologize. I'm like, I'm so sorry if I was just talking your ear off. It's just been so long.
Yeah. I'm scared that I've lost the skill to do it. Like it's like you randomly run into somebody down the street that you're not expecting, and it's like it's just like I don't know how to talk to people anymore.
Yeah, like you just completely forget all social skills. I also I worry, like I've heard from friends that have like teenagers they're just like they've been inside for so long, they're worried about their social skills as well. So it's like puppies.
Especially during those developmental times where that's when you learn all those skills, and if you're not doing
absolutely. And even I read an interesting article about especially younger children and masks, like people wearing masks and not being able to tell facial expressions and stuff like that, which I thought was really interesting. Like all of this stuff that I guess because, you know, we both don't have children. So like I know I just wasn't considering stuff like this, just hadn't even entered my brain. But I was listening to a podcast about it and like, I mean, for some people, like in Australia anyway, parts of here, it's 2 years. 2 years of like taken out of their lives and not seeing facial expression. And you can barely recognize people with their masks. Let alone tell tone or I don't know, detect sarcasm or whatever it is. All of those things
so
that you
true.
learn.
Yeah.
Interesting times anyway. And how have you been? How have you been coping during lockdown so far? Have you been keeping busy?
I try. Like I think our first lockdown last year, our long lockdown last year, I was quite busy. Like I did lots of personal projects. I rebranded. I built a new website. I, got a printing station set up. So I felt like I achieved a bit. But this time, it's been a little bit different. I've had bits and pieces of stuff to do that is still part of jobs I did before lockdown. So I've still got, a little bit of retouching here and there that I'm doing, and trying to get out and just do some street photography when I'm out walking.
Yeah.
But that's about it. Like I've found it really hard, and I know when I talk to a lot of other creatives, like people are finding it hard to get motivated to do anything this time around. I think last year it was a bit of a novelty, like the lockdown. So I was kind of grateful for a little bit of time, I guess, where I could spend on things like rebranding myself. But this time it's like I've done all that. I've got nothing to do. I'm just like, what can I do?
Exactly how I feel. Like it's only so much productivity. What up, Jay? What up, Mahara? Nice to see you. You're finally awake. Thanks for being here, Mahara. And Jay, welcome to the stream. Yeah, I mean, I tweeted about this the other day. It was just like I've done all the pivoting that I can manage, and I'm really productive. Like I've spoken about this on my stream so many times, but my anxiety presents in a very productive way, so it's kind of handy for stuff like this. But now I've just reached the brink of productivity without shooting. Like I've done all the things that I can do without picking up a camera. So I'm like, but I've really loved seeing those times that you've gone for walks and you've just taken photos, and I've really struggled to get the motivation to even do that. So sometimes I take my phone out and I'll do some just like random street photography, but it's really cool to see you doing that and I get too bored. I get too bored. Like I can't just walk around anymore and look at things. Like if I don't have a camera on me, I feel like I don't have a sense of purpose almost. It's like why am I here? If I don't have my camera and I can't take photos of things I want to take photos of, I don't want to do it. It's like it's just so ingrained in me now that I can't. It's part of your identity. Yeah, it has become like that. So it's I love that though. And I think that's really cool. And I'm also like a big multitasker as well. So if I'm walking, I need to be doing something else as well. Otherwise, I get a bit bored. Yeah. I'm a podcaster though. I'm like I have love listening and consuming information. So I listen to a lot of podcasts. I just feel like I'm learning while I'm walking. I need to do the learning, walking plus the photography thing. Bring it back. Let's do the trifecta. Let's go. That's a lot of senses you're engaging right there. It is. But it's good for the brain because I don't know, have you noticed this, Nicole? But my brain definitely doesn't work. It's not firing. I'm a huge multitasker as well. And I've always been really proud of just doing a million things at once. And now I'm just like, I notice it. It's so slow. I'm just like, come on, like, turn the cogs. Let's go. I noticed each time we've come out of a lockdown, even like the snap lockdowns where it's been two or 3 weeks. 2 weeks, the first few shoots I've done after that, I have been quite slow and quite not quite flustered, but almost bordering on flustered because it's like not familiar almost. Just lost that natural like second nature flow you have when you pick up a camera because it's you've been going so long without it. The first few shoots for me were like really clunky. Really clunky. Absolutely. What up, Zoe? Thanks for joining us. Nice to see you here. What was really frustrating, Nicole, was like I can't remember which lockdown because we've had so many, but there was one that was like after the kind of biggest stuff, and I was really getting back into the swing of things, and I just felt like my mojo was back. I was feeling really creative, and it was just like it was all coming back, and then it was just like lockdown, and it's like, oh my god. The stopping and starting was really hard. It's brutal. And I think it's really tricky for people outside Melbourne to understand as well, because even with Sydney, like they didn't do it last year, so they haven't done the in and out like we have. And it's really so it really drains your brain when you're having to
like schedule things and then reschedule them and try and rearrange things. And I think
totally.
it almost feels better knowing that we're in lockdown for a long time rather than coming in and out.
I know.
So you get excited and then it's not.
So true. What up, Gypsy J? So good to see you. So thanks for joining us today. Well, let's start our actual chat and stop talking about lockdowns because it's so boring, so over lockdowns. Let's talk about you. We're going to pull up some of your work on the screen while we're talking, but we've got Nicole Reed today, really great friend of mine and just such a brilliant photographer. I've been constantly, I've known you for probably close to 10 years now and have just been so inspired by your work. And we your work's so different to what I do, but it's so beautiful and I just love everything that you do. And I want to talk to you about a couple of different things that I find really unusual about your career. But let's start from the start. When did you pick up a camera? How long ago? What drew you to the passion of photography that we all have in common here?
Yeah, I guess when I go right back to when I was young, my dad always had cameras, so I was always, watching him with his old light meters and cameras, and then it started and ended pretty quickly when I was a kid because I wanted a Polaroid camera for Christmas, and my parents were like, "You're gonna have a Polaroid camera for Christmas, but you have to buy your own film." And I said, "Oh, that's fine." And then I looked at how much Polaroid film was at the time. And I was like, "Yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. Can I have bongos instead?"
The bongos. I guess,
yeah. And then I changed my mind. I didn't go down that path either. So, but then I guess I picked. I've always been one of those people who have always had a camera, but that was back in the days before phones and phone cameras. So not everyone was able to take photos back in those days.
Yes. It's so different now. Everyone's a photographer.
It is. Yeah. And then what did I do? I studied graphic design for a couple of years at RMIT, and I never finished that. And I think I started another course in something else creative, and I never finished that. And then ended up getting an apprenticeship in graphic reproduction, and which doesn't even exist anymore. I don't think that.
Yeah, I'm like
that job.
I haven't heard that before. I haven't heard that term.
Yeah. Before. So I guess it was doing layout for magazines and advertising, but it was before computers. So everything was done with film, and like contouring out someone was done with a scalpel on a piece of ruby litho. So
my God.
yeah, it wasn't that long ago that we were still doing everything by hand in the printing industry. But
I hadn't even thought of that. Like, that's how it would have been done.
Yeah.
I just have never actually contemplated that was a job.
Yeah. And then part of that apprenticeship was learning how to use a high-end scanner. And I guess I chose to go down that path. So I became a high-end scanner operator. And I guess I worked with a lot of photographers and book publishers through various different jobs or places as a scanner operator. So I had really good skills in knowing how to convert something into a digital file, and converting it to CMYK and making sure that it printed, no matter how it was being printed, as close to the original as possible. So I guess I started using Macs when they were still green screen. When they were those little box ones and they had like floppy disks built in them. So I remember those. Yeah, I've been using Macs for a long time, and as a scanner operator and a retoucher, and then I started working for a design studio, and then I started working as I guess, doing layout in-house for a magazine, for a tattoo magazine. And the publisher, eventually asked me if I could go to tattoo conventions and take photos for articles on for the magazine. So I started doing that, and then I was like, oh, this is really great, not sitting at a computer every day. Like, I can get out and do these things. And it was still film photography at the time. And then when digital photography started, I bought my first, I think it was a Canon PowerShot, which would have been about 3 megapixels for a file, and started using that. And then when digital photography became really popular, because of my background, I already had a lot of knowledge and a lot of skill in how to use digital files. So for me, it was basically second nature. All the technical part of digital photography. And then I started a photography course and never finished it, and I started another one and never finished it. And then just continued working for the magazine, and then I ended up shooting the covers and editorial, and then kind of just decided one day that I didn't really want to sit in front of a computer all day anymore. That I wanted to get out and do photography, so I did.
Oh, that's awesome. Give me 2 seconds. Yeah. I'm just going to turn off my television that I just realised is very loud and very annoying. Which I forgot to do. There we go. It's really obvious, I think, I didn't know your full background, but it's really obvious, I think, that you've got a really solid design background. Like your eye, there's a design and composition in your work that I think just you can absolutely tell that you've got some type of design background, because it's just so flawless.
Yeah, everything I see and compose, I still think about where the gutter is, if it needs bleed. I mean, not many of my images end up in print these days. They do, but still, just always in the back of my head, it's always like, make sure there's enough room for bleed if they want to make it full page, and all that kind of thing. So I'm very handy, very aware of that.
Zoe just said in the chat, oh my gosh, that sounds like me. I started a graphic design, never finished, started a photography course and never finished. Well, there you go, Zoe. Keep going. It's okay. It's okay.
I was diagnosed with ADHD about 3 years ago, so now I know why I never finished any of those courses.
I remember when you telling me that when that happened, and you were just like, everything makes sense now. My life makes sense. It's so funny because it's I think it's Ash said totally feel that, Nicole, have that in mind too. I feel like the ADHD, especially in women, seems to be, it's obviously less common and later diagnosed as well. I've had a few friends that have been diagnosed like in their late 30s and 40s that just were like, oh my God, it all makes sense now. Like why I've been like this.
Yeah, I know awesome. Quite a few people as well, and actually all of them are creative people, which my psychiatrist told me that I guess people with ADHD tend towards creative fields because you just can't cope with
like
anything that's too structured.
I've got a few friends that are like I said, have been diagnosed later, and one thing that they've always had in common is just feeling it's almost like really overwhelmed with too much structure. Like it's too they need to be a lot more free flowing, which totally makes sense why you'd be drawn to, and they're artists and musicians and
and sports, a lot of sports people as well. Same kind of thing,
which makes sense. Because they're not the people that you want to be sitting at a desk like all day and just completely feeling disillusioned with the world. But I just love hearing your story though, because I feel like, I mean, it definitely shows that you've been doing this for a long time. That you've obtained skills in all these different areas, and there's like not really a fast track to like having a career in what we do as well. Like everyone that I know that is kind of successfully doing this, it's like it's kind of like the long game. Like there's a persistence and nothing happens overnight, if that makes sense. I just want to talk to you about those kind of early years and getting your feet, because there's a lot of people here that are struggling to either know when to jump into doing this. Do you remember that moment? Was it just like you're just starting to get enough work, or was there a moment that you're like, okay, I'm just going to do this now?
I think it was a bit of both. I was lucky enough to have a lot of contacts through my previous work who were in publishing. So I guess one of the biggest or the most helpful people was a designer or art director called Eddie Zammit. And so I had previously worked with him probably 20 years ago at his design firm as a finished artist. And when I quit and took up photography, I got in touch with him and said, hey, I'm doing photography now, so if you ever need anyone. And he did, and then he and I worked together for a long time. And he had a book or a journal called Tea World, which is about streetwear and t-shirt culture. So we traveled to the US a bunch of times, and I got to shop really well-known and famous designers and artists over there with him. And just getting that opportunity through people like him who I'd worked with before. I guess there was already that a sense of trust, and knowing that you're a hard worker and that you do the work was already there. So I guess in saying that, relationships and contacts, even if you're not ready to take that leap yet, fostering those beforehand is a really good idea. So when you are ready, you already have those people there.
Ready to go. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh gosh, I've said that so many times on this stream about contacts. What up, Soy? Soy's just raiding with a party of 11. How are you guys going? So good to see you here. What up, Gonzi? Thank you so much for the raid. Super appreciate it. We've got Nicole Reed here today. Dear friend of mine who is an incredible photographer. We're just talking about her career. I've said that a lot of times on the stream, that I feel like it's like, I don't know, it's always cliche to say that it's about relationships and stuff, but it feels like a part of the equation that a lot of people forget, or like they're really focused on the technical aspect and being the best photographer that they are, which is great, and I feel like that's such a big part of it. But those people, those contacts, and essentially your friends are the people that are going to give you the work. Like it's really important to let them know that this is what you want to do, like kind of like verbalizing, this is what I want to do. Can if you have any opportunities, or if you know someone, and your friends will help you out. I mean, my friends literally started my career, literally were the ones that were hiring me. So
and
like
I was
really
the same.
Important part.
I can't even remember how long it was into my career when somebody just cold called me and said, oh, I saw your work here. I'd like to hire you. That I hadn't had a previous relationship with, or were a close contact of a friend. So, it was quite some time. I think it doesn't happen quickly.
Exactly. That's when your reputation has been like that, kind of your reputation precedes you at that point, and then people are cold calling you. But that's years and years of development.
It is.
Mutesa said, great advice. I'm a graphic designer transitioning into the world of photography, so find this insight really reassuring, which is great. That's awesome. My friends gave
Cool.
me live feedback most. Oh, you were doing. I saw you were doing a live feedback stream. I missed your stream. Hopefully the next one I'll be there. As the saying goes, it's not what you know, but who you know. 80 said that. I know it's so cliche, and I've said it a million times, but it is so true.
Yeah. I
And
mean, you've got to
also
have the
too-
what as well.
You do have to have the what, but also
Yeah.
too, like, because you would have definitely seen this, and I've seen it as well. Because there's also a way of relationship building. Because when you meet those people and it's like this icky feeling that they're just getting to know you for something versus just a genuine connection. And then, by the way, if you need me for something, like, there's also a way to do it, which is hard to teach.
Yeah.
So it's like there's no expectation. You're not asking for stuff. It's like, I don't even know how to communicate that, but it's like a way of getting to know people that it's organic, and it's kind of like, I'll do something for you, you do something for me. But there's those people that are just like, it just feels like they want something from you, and it's not a give and take. Yeah. This relationship is just a one-way street.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Do you get people contacting you? I get this all the time, and I assume you will as well, but they'll say, I just want to buy you a cup of coffee and, like, pick your brain. And then, like, you never, it's like, they just suck all this information from you, and then you just never hear from them again. Like, it's just not a genuine.
Yeah.
You always feel like, oh, that sucked.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know how, I mean, in today's climate, I hate to bring up the pandemic again, but I'm not even sure how you'd go about starting doing that kind of thing now.
They DM you and just say, they ask you for the details for your major clients. Like, that's usually how it happens.
How much do you charge for a shoot?
It's so funny.
I still don't even know exactly how to charge for a shoot. So I've been doing it for 20 years, so don't ask me.
Oh my god, it's interesting though. Like, this is, I mean, gosh, I know I've contacted you for advice like that before. Like, I've contacted other photographers that I know. I always advise, even with writing the masterclass, it was like trying to advise a range. Like, it's about between this and this, but the range is kind of big. It's like,
it's huge.
It depends on so many things.
Yeah, I mean, I had a friend contact me and ask me about a job he was doing and how much he had an idea of how much he wanted to charge, and I was like, well, you've got to take into consideration how much your equipment costs and your upkeep on your equipment, whether you're paying public liability insurance, how much it's going to cost you to travel to this place, if you're spending money on accommodation and food, and like, there's so many other factors that you have to take into consideration when you're quoting, other than just how much you charge per hour or how much your day rate is.
You were the person that taught me that, Nicole. You literally were the person that taught me that. Because I would ask you something and you're like, okay, well then there's this, but then there's the editing time, and then there's the travel time, and just like really considering the whole. Because I was just like, oh yeah, when I first started, I was like, oh, charging whatever, $300 a shoot or whatever, not taking into consideration any of that. And you really reframed that for me. Like, it's such great advice.
Yeah, pre-production time. There's like, a whole bunch of factors that even when people ask you for a quote, they don't think about.
And so when you're quoting, do you kind of line item it out so they can see it's not just a fee, it's like it's this, and then so they can actually see where the time is going?
Usually I have a standard day rate or a half day rate, and then I will have, if I have to hire any special equipment that I might not own, I'll add that in. I have an assistant, so I add that in on a separate line. I'll have editing, and then if there's any retouching, usually I have like a base for retouching, but then when the job's done, we'll reassess the quote for the retouching, because you never know what that's going to be until you do it. And then if there's anything else like studio hire or use of paper rolls,
gosh, that's such a good point. Paper rolls are so
all that
expensive.
kind of stuff. Yeah, and
paper
once you
rolls
use
like
them,
$170 or something.
Yeah, and you could go through like, you could go through a whole one in a shoot if you want to keep the floor
exactly.
clean.
At least
you're constantly rolling it out.
Yeah, totally. Jada said, yes, I always tell the clients the actual shoot or the event is the easy part. It's the editing process where the hours go in. Definitely can be for some particular shoots for sure. That's so true. Yeah, that's really great advice, is just to consider all of those things. And like I said, you definitely were someone that taught me that when I was starting, because I would just be like, oh, I'm just going to charge a fee. And it's like, there's so many other things. And also too, it feels like you can be really nervous about, charging additional stuff to clients. But I think when you actually line item it out and they can see where all the money's going, like there's a value associated in that as well. And also a legitimacy. You know what you're doing. You've really thought about it.
That's true.
Yeah, there's something about what goes into those types of quotes, I think, that just looks more professional or something, rather than this shoot's $500.
Yeah. And people will go, what? Or why are you charging me $4,000 for like a day shoot? And then it's like, well, if you take out the money for my assistant, for the studio hire, it breaks it down to this is, now my day rate with my editing rate. And then, if you actually broke that down into an hourly rate, the amount of time you spend on the shoot and the amount of time you're in editing, it breaks it down and you're earning the same amount of money as anybody else. It's just like that first initial amount looks big, but then in the end it's not.
Totally. Jay said these pictures are amazing. The white balance and tones are nailed in every picture. We're looking at some of your portraits at the moment, Nicole, for reference. Puppies, shush. Bill just said, why are you so expensive? Because you called me and not the other way around. I love that.
I should write that down.
I love that. I had someone recently that was like, asked for a quote, and then they asked me why was I 3 times more expensive than anyone else that they got the quote from, and I'm like, and even it was like, just because I'm like, because I value my work more than these other people. Absolutely. Like, look at my folio, mate. No, but I just thought it was it felt like they were trying to neg me. It was like this weird, like psychology thing. And I'm like, because I am worth every cent. So, and I was also like, I don't care if you don't book me. Like, I'm not begging for your work here.
I'm not gonna. It's one thing that I don't think I could ever bring myself to do, was to barter with someone over my price or my quote, because it's like we were just saying, when you break it all down into all your expenses and the amount of money that, even like your insurance on your equipment and your public liability, that's like thousands and thousands of dollars a year.
Thousands of dollars.
Just so you can shoot. And that's why I'm 3 times more expensive.
That's exactly right. What up, Devon? Nice to see you. By the way, Devon, look what I've got on my... Can you see what I've got on my feet today, Devon? These are the slippers that Devon just sent me in the mail.
Amazing. They look like
fairy floss. They do. Snap. Thank you for the subby, 9-month subby. Thanks, Devon. You're the best. And thank you for the slippies. The slippies, and also, look, the pen. He sent me a duck pen.
Oh, cute.
And also this, Nicole, you will appreciate this. 1 tea at a time. No, Nicole and I are both tea drinkers, so cute little notepad. You're the best, Deb. I had the essentials, exactly. I'm just going to go to some of your architecture work and some of your projects that you've done. I wanted to ask you, because I guess I've really, for my career, have pretty much like boxed myself into a neat little music photography box, which I definitely will be regretting in years to come, I think, trying to get out of that box. You've done the opposite, I think. Like, you've really someone that you shoot so much variety. You shoot portraits and architecture and commercial work. And usually when I'm advising younger people too, I'm usually advising to kind of pick a niche and pick what you're really good at, and it can help stand out. But you've done the opposite, and I'd love to talk to you about why that is and how you have just been so successful in what you're doing with not really having one focus. Like, you are quite broad, and you're amazing at all of the things that you do as well.
Oh, thanks.
You are.
Yeah, I've never really thought about it that way. I guess architecture and portraits are the two main things that I shoot.
Yep.
And
which are quite different. They're quite like,
they are.
From a technical point of view of how you shoot them is so different, the approach. Yeah,
it is definitely. Oh, geez, that's a really good question. I don't think anyone's ever asked me that before. I think for me, it's more of I'm going to go really deep here. It's more of a psychological look at my personality. Mm-hmm. So when I first started shooting for myself, I chose to shoot architecture because I thought I was shy and introverted. Turns out I had undiagnosed ADD, but at the time, that's what I thought I was. I didn't really like being around people. I didn't think I had great communication skills. And so I chose to shoot architecture because I didn't have to deal with people so much. And then, I guess just with shooting portraits with the Tattoo magazine and with Eddie on Tea World, I started really loving doing that. And as I got older and more confident and a bit better at communicating, and now having medication for ADD, my communication skills are they're way up there.
Really come out of your
on
shell,
the street
Nicole.
Now. So I tend to, I tend to swing depending on more how I'm feeling, but I mean, I love doing both equally.
I was going to ask if you have a favorite of the two. Is there something?
Not really. I love doing both, but I think for personal work, I probably tend more towards architectural work, or more a new client of mine phrased my style as observational architectural photography, which I really, really loved that term. No one had ever said that to me before, and I was like, that really, the kind of work that I do, if I'm out walking or shooting for myself, that's what I really love doing. So it was actually nice to be hired because someone really loved that kind of work.
Yes.
That I do. But so I think that
as like a terminology for what you do as well. There's something about, I don't know whether it's I think we're looking at is it the South Korea, is that where the project was? It was North Korea.
North Korea, yeah.
North Korea. We're looking at that project at the moment. Actually, let's just talk about that, because how the hell do you get into North Korea to do a photography project like this? How did that even happen?
I was contacted, when did I go? 2019 I went. So in 2018 I was contacted by a guy, James Gullen, who I had some mutual friends with. Like, we didn't know each other at the time, but we had some mutual friends. One of them being Luke Fraser, who I also worked with at that design firm way back in the day, where I worked with Eddie. So I've remained good friends with Luke and still do work with Luke now. But James he traveled to North Korea a lot and he also worked as a guide there. And so he had an idea that he wanted to do a book on the interiors of the tourist hotels in Pyongyang in North Korea. So when he asked his friends if they knew any photographers who they thought might be suitable, luckily two of our mutual friends said me. So he got in contact with me, and then he went through a company who organized the visas and all that kind of thing, and then we went. So I met him in Beijing, and then we met the contact from the tour company from North Korea and got our visas and jumped on a very odd flight into North Korea. And then got off the plane, and they take your passport off you as soon as you arrive. So
oh my god, that's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, and spent, I think it was almost a week, four nights. I think we were there 5 days.
How was that experience? Just walking around, because it's obviously not a place that many people are just popping on a plane over to go to.
No,
so it would be a very surreal experience.
It was really surreal. I mean, you're not allowed to walk around by yourself, so you're constantly with a chaperone or a guide. And there weren't, I didn't see, actually no, we saw a group of Western tourists, they were Europeans who were staying in the same hotel. But walking around out in the street, we didn't see any other Western tourists. They did get a lot of tourism from China. So, I mean, they do get tourists there.
Okay.
But walking around Pyongyang in the middle of the day is a little like walking around Melbourne in the middle of the day at the moment.
At the moment,
so
I mean, you can kind of tell from the photographs, there's just like no people.
Yeah, but it's there's no people, because if we're out shooting in the middle of the day, all those people are at work. Because everybody works, whether it's all kinds of things, but everyone has a job. I think my guide said to me, like, everyone in Pyongyang has a job to do.
Okay, so there's no unemployment as such. Everybody's
no
doing something.
So I mean, the streets look bare because everyone's off working, whether it's in factories or fields or whatever they do. So I guess there's a lot of people in the pictures. I guess there'd be some tourists or people catching the train, but the streets are pretty quiet during the day, and the hotels, there's not many people in the hotels because they're tourist hotels. And so if you're a tourist there, you're on a tour, a guided tour, and every day you go out on the tour and you go and see the monuments of the leaders and go to the factory where you get to see how happy the workers are working in their factory, and you go so
God.
Everyone's doing something because that's just what you have to do.
Oh my God.
There's no milling around.
Yeah, there's no just like
on the streets.
Teenagers gathering in groups or anything like that.
No. No.
Devon asked a question, Nicole, do you alter the spaces of your photos, or is it mostly practical framing, timing, composition? They all have a very clean and well-balanced aspect to them. It's a great question.
I rarely will alter images. I guess all the travel stuff, that is how they are. I rarely retouch.
I think again, it's that
anything.
That design eye that we were talking about before. You just got this beautiful eye for composition and framing, and proportions, and you just nail it every time. So super clean.
I think there's one photo from Pyongyang. It's of my guide in front of me. She's going down an elevator, And then there's a
like an
guy coming up
escalator?
looking back. Yeah,
Literally
escalator.
looking
Sorry.
at that photo.
Yeah.
We're literally looking at that
Oh,
photo at
funny.
the moment.
But that is the only photo I altered because I retouched out James, who was in front of me. I retouched him out of the
Yes.
photo.
You
So
can't tell
yeah,
at
it was
all.
a little, yeah, it was a little bit more symmetrical with just the woman going down in front. But I think otherwise I tend not to. I mean, I'll color balance them, grade them a
Grade
certain
them, yeah.
way, but yeah, I don't usually retouch or even and crop them
Yeah. Yeah.
in ways. But I try and get a fairly finished result when I'm taking the photo. I'm not
What
one of
an
those people
amazing
who will
experience, by the
click.
way.
It was. I'm really, really grateful for it because I don't think it's, I don't think I'll ever have that opportunity again with the way the world's going at the moment.
Yeah, really just, I mean, gosh, there's got to be such a minimal amount of people that have had that opportunity, so it's like such a amazing thing. And like, honestly, you just did such a beautiful job. Like, they're just the most stunning photographs. It's just such a pleasure to look at every single one of them. They're just like, they're just perfect. They're so well composed, and just gives such a great insight too to a place that probably most of us have never seen that much of either.
No. And what you do see, I mean, they're pretty strict on what you can and can't photograph when you're outside. So
did you have to get approval on the photos that you took once you had taken them? Like, was there any approval process to say, okay?
No. I've heard some photographers or people say that on their way out, they'll have a quick flick through their camera to have a look what photos they took. But yeah, I didn't experience that at all. And I'd gone really prepared. Like, I mean, normally when I shoot, I always shoot to 2 cards in my camera anyway. So I had 2 copies of everything on an SD card and a flash card, and then backed them up onto a hard drive and gave that to James. So I had 3 copies of everything going around just in case. But
that's great thinking, just to have everything,
Yeah, because you hear all kinds of stories about, them deleting photos, but I was pretty prepared. But when you're out and about with your guides, they will let you know if you're taking a photo of something that you shouldn't be. They're pretty onto it. Like, I think the first couple of days, my guides were just constantly like, no, please don't take a photo of that. No, you can't take a photo of that. No, you can't do that. Can't do that. And at first I was like, what? How? Like,
what can I take
weird? Yeah. But then after a couple of days, you get used to it, and then you just don't even attempt it. And I mean, I did get in trouble once, and the photo on my website, it's of a sporting arena, which is the table tennis arena. So it's like in the second row if you're looking on my website. It's a big structure with kind of brutalist concrete corners and glass in the middle. But in the front of that, you can see there's 2 soldiers. And the military is something that they definitely don't want you to photograph. So, I mean, I didn't even see them because, when you're looking through the viewfinder in your camera, everything's tiny. Didn't even see them standing there. But just when I was taking that photo, I think you can see one of them looking at me. But yeah, he started blowing a whistle and walking towards us. Yeah, and my guide was like, "What are you doing? You're not allowed to take photos of military."
That's
and I'm
terrifying.
Like, I didn't even see them there. She was like, "Come on, let's go." Like,
quick, let's go. Oh my god, that's terrifying. Mutsa Star, seems like you've got a large volume of photos done for the project in a short amount of time. For the interiors portraits, are you using lighting setup of any kind, or is this all natural light?
It's all natural. I would have loved to have taken like a small strobe or something with me, but that wasn't initially part of the brief, doing the portraits in the hotel.
Yep.
So I wasn't really prepared for that, and I tried to travel really light, because you have to send a list of what equipment that you're taking into North Korea, and they actually do check that. When I got into the airport, they had that list, and they looked. I had to show them what I had. So yeah, I didn't really. Yeah, I would have loved to have used a strobe on the portraits, but I just didn't take it with me because I spent some time in Beijing as well, so I didn't really want to take a whole bunch of equipment. Definitely not the amount of equipment that I'd take to a normal shoot. I didn't want to be carrying that around China and North Korea, especially not knowing exactly how they would react to what I was already taken in. So yeah, they're all naturally lit.
So good. Yeah, I'm the same whenever I'm touring as well. It's like I literally take the minimal amount of equipment that is humanly possible. I just don't want to be traveling. I think as you get older as well, it's just like practical, from a practical point of view, like what you're lugging around.
It gets heavier and heavier.
It does.
You get older. That's
why I like going mirrorless now. So good.
Same. Yeah, I converted to mirrorless this year too, with the new Canon R5, which I love. I mean, I guess in the scheme of things, once you buy all the glass is almost just as heavy as normal glass, so the lenses are a little bit lighter, but quickly it all builds up. But I mean, I remember when we could travel and just the restrictions on what you could carry on planes were just getting stricter and stricter, so it was like I can't even
stuff. Pockets and stuff. So crazy. Or try and fake that your bag's really light. You're just like, and you're like, you're dying, and you're like, my backpack's actually 7 kilos, but it's like 15 or whatever. Wheelie bags. They'll get you every time. But I mean, you got a camera body and like 3 lenses, and that's your limit right there. Absolutely.
You carry on. The days when you could travel.
Oh, do you remember when you said that? I was just like, oh gosh, it's like we're sounding like we're living in different times. Like travel.
Yeah.
What's that? I'd like to talk to you about, I guess, slow times, or because there's a few moments that through our relationship where I know that you've really given me a bit of a pep up, and this is definitely one of these times where there's a dip in the work, and you feel like nobody is ever going to book you again. How do you deal with those moments? Because I remember speaking to you one time, and you'd said something like, you just got a job, and it had been a couple of months or something, and you had been happy again to be booked, and I think you said, I felt like no one was going to book me ever again. I was like, oh my god, like if Nicole's going through this, we're all going through this. Like it just gave me such confidence to hear that you go through those dips, but it's like, I guess, can you talk to how that feels, and how you keep kind of pushing on when those dips in bookings happen, because they can be really weirdly soul destroying.
They can. I'm trying to remember. I mean, it's been a couple of years now since we've had proper work structure. So
totally, this was probably like, I'm talking maybe 7 years ago. What up, Mafia? Mafia just said 2 of my faves.
Oh,
nice to see you, Mafia. You're the best.
I guess that's when taking on personal projects is really good. Just I guess keeping yourself busy that way. But it took a long time to stop like moping during those periods. And like feeling sorry for yourself. It's like, oh, I've got no work, how am I going to survive? It's like, now if that happens, it's like, oh, I've got no work, great, that means I can do this.
Reframing it. Oh, did we just lose the... Hang on. We might have just lost the Zoom call. Hang on a sec. Three favourites, Bill. We might have just lost Nicole. I'll see if she jumps back in the meeting. It looks like it just... Think... Oh, your internet just dropped out. Okay. See if we get her back. She said her internet's just dropped out. We're getting to a really juicy question as well. How are you, Mafia? What's happening in your world today? How are you, Bill? Hopefully we can get Nicole back. We'll see how we go. She's just trying to hotspot. Stellar weekend shooting. I love hearing that. Where are you in the country at the moment? Oh, you just got knocked back. Oh shit. That's a bummer. Well, look, keep going. You've obviously got the numbers, so I've heard from a few people that they got knocked back a few times. Yeah, definitely. Oh, you're still in Utah. Awesome. That's so cool. Have you posted... oh, the first partner app is always rejected. There you go. Bill would know this. Keep doing your thing, Mafia. There's two of my heads in the screen. That's pretty funny. Hang on. Double me. Let's turn off the zoom. Whoops, that one. Not safe for Twitch. Rejoining. Okay, let's have a look. There we go. Let's see if we got Nicole back. Hey.
Ah, sorry about that.
That's okay. We've got your yay, that's
cool.
The good thing about live streaming is literally everything that can possibly happen from a technical point of view happens. So the fact that you're able to
I am hotspotting off my phone. Our home internet has completely disappeared.
Oh my god, I hate
it. It happened early this morning, and I was like, no, why is it doing that today? So if it's a bit clunky, that I'm hotspotting off my phone.
No stress. This is the last question anyway. We have had you for an hour, so I don't want to take too much of your time, but I'd love to hear, just about, you were saying about using that time to do personal projects and keeping really busy while I guess you're not being booked.
Oh yeah. Yeah, and to stop moping. Moping around. Yeah. Which I did. Totally. I did that for years and years. Like I would just get so stressed and so, it's me. No one wants to work with me. Oh, poor me. But no, I think over time, I also learnt that generally if I was having a pretty serious dip in work, the industry was having a dip in work. So, I mean, there are so many external factors when it comes to the kind of work that we do. Even in between lockdowns, a lot of companies that I was regularly shooting for, kind of small to medium size companies, were just not being able to afford to do shoots at the moment. So, there's a lot of other things other than what you might think about yourself that factors into why you're not getting work. So I think if you're mentally prepared for that to happen, because it will happen, it's just the nature of what we do, and it would be really hard to sustain shooting you can't shoot all the time anyway. So
You get really
mentally and
burnt out.
physically,
Yeah.
you need those breaks, but you've just got to learn how to take advantage of having those breaks rather than thinking it's, there's something wrong.
I
That's,
couldn't
it's
agree
just,
more. I've always utilized that time, if that ever happens, to do something, like to try a new technique or work with someone
Yeah.
that just do a shoot just for fun, which you never get to do.
Yeah.
Like, I love those times now. I'm like, oh my god, if I've got
Yeah.
a little, even if it's 2 days or something, and I can
Yeah.
potentially reach out to an artist that I haven't worked with, or I want to try a new technique, use
Yeah,
that
totally.
time to, and also to the nature, especially what I do is like so much of the stuff that I shoot, you can't even post for like ages and ages, like 6 months or something. So then having stuff that you can actually, that's fresh and feels really current as well, can feel really good. So like I use it just, I think it as a positive now. It's like, yes, I've got some time to do some cool stuff that I really love. So I love that. That's awesome.
Yeah, and one thing that I probably should have been more on top of, but didn't even really think about it, is education as well. Like if you've got downtime in work, do an online course or something. Like I'm actually about to start a course to get my drone license, so
that's awesome.
It'll be fun. Yeah,
so
about to start
you
that.
doing that, Nicole. Oh my god, yes.
Oh yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm very excited. I mean, I'm starting to get more and more people inquire about it.
So good.
Because I do have a drone, I do fly it, but I can't fly it for work. So finally taking the plunge and getting a license and a
is that expensive to get a license here, or is it not too bad?
It is. It's, as a sole trader, if you want to hire yourself to fly a drone. So there's 2 things you need. You need a license and something else, which off the top of my head, I can't remember what it is. So you need some other kind of certificate, which lets you hire someone to fly a drone. Mm-hmm. So you could be a company and have this certificate, and then you could hire me, who has a pilot's license, to fly it. But you need both of those things. So as a sole trader, you need both of those things. So it's $4.5 grand, I think, to do a course to get both of those things.
Yeah. So it's an investment. It's an investment in, future income that you're going to make from doing this type of work.
Hopefully, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Yeah. Especially, once you do it, once you start doing it properly and it's all legal and above board, then I could just put it out there that I can do that work.
Do that type of work.
Yeah.
Awesome. Have we got any last questions in the chat? If you've got any questions for Nicole, pop them in the chat now. Do you have any upcoming projects that you're working on at the moment, or are you just with lockdowns? We were saying it's hard with motivation at the moment.
Yeah, I'm actually almost finished and about to launch a book that I started work on. Well, I didn't even start work on it. I didn't even know this was going to be the outcome. But during lockdown last year, when I was, I would make a point going out for an hour every day, taking photos of my neighborhood. So built up thousands of photos of Footscray
oh my God,
last year. So
yeah.
Finally, I'm working with Jess Hoskin, who is a designer, and we've put together a book of those images. So I had to cut it down so much, but it's 170 pages.
Oh my God.
Over I think 2 months of taking photos. So that is on its way to the printers.
Last week, Nicole, we did I do a challenge with my community every week. So I challenge them like a theme, and then they go out for the week and shoot. And last week's challenge was actually neighborhood. So everyone,
cool.
It was amazing. We got the most amazing entries that everyone was walking around their neighborhood, and they were able to submit 3 photos that like represented their neighborhood. So
that's a great idea.
Yeah, it's a really good challenge. This week's challenge is seasons. So They're gonna,
Ah.
'cause there's people from all around the world in the community, so they're gonna take
Yeah.
some photos that represent whatever season they're currently experiencing. So we have to
Right.
let us know when the book comes out, and I'll let
Yeah, I
the community
will.
know as
Yeah.
well. I'll definitely be purchasing it. I've got a couple of your books now.
Thanks.
I've got the Japan one. I've got the Japan one. I think I've got two or three.
Field notes.
Field notes, yeah. Well, this is such a lovely chat. This is so amazing, and I super appreciate you coming on board to talk to us today. And thanks
for
jumping
having
back
me.
online after your internet died.
Yeah, it's still out too.
It's still out. Oh my god! Hopefully it comes back soon. Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. For those
No
in the
Netflix
chat,
otherwise.
no Netflix. Oh my god. We need to get it back. For those in the chat, I will hang around for a little bit longer. We'll talk about the challenge coming up this week. But we'll say goodbye to Nicole. Thank you so much. I super appreciate it.
No, thank you. It was heaps of fun.
Really
it's nice to see your face too.
Yeah, nice to see your face as well. Please let me know if you're doing another walk around here. I'll take the little
I will.
take the little Nikon out for a spin. It'll be great.
Yeah, cool.
Cool.
All right.
Love. Good to see you.
Chat soon. Bye everyone. Thank you.
Bye. Yay. Such a good chat. So good. I hope you guys got something out of that. She's such a wonderful photographer, and like I said, there's someone that I've turned to for advice many times over my last 10 years of shooting, and just a wealth of knowledge. So it's really great to chat to her. What's everyone up to today? What's happening? What's happening in your hood?